Hello, everybody. This is my first presentation of my 50 Images research project, my first 5 favorite artists. So this first one is Asta Kulikauskate. Don't quote me on that pronunciation. Is a Lithuanian painter, and her work focuses on abstractions of landscapes. And when I first saw this one, I immediately snatched it and knew that this was going to be one that I was going to talk about. It was the first piece I actually found for this project. And what I love about it is taking something like sky over mountains. It's a landscape, but you have these beautiful flowing gestural lines, and it's charcoal on paper. And so you've got these gentle washes of charcoal, and then on top of that some fairly bold flowing movement textural lines that create an organic and kind of like wave-like feel to something so rigid like a mountain. It could be very like clean cut and sharp if chosen, but in this artist chose to go very fluid, and it just felt very purposeful and artistic, a clear vision. And I loved it. I love that it's black and white. It spoke to me in a lot of really big ways. Okay, my second one is Lee Lozano, which this one is She Bites. Lee Lozano, from what I can tell, is a feminist artist working in 1960s New York, working with all these kind of men contemporaries and stuff, and her work is very much about like power imbalances and like the feeling of being a woman and the kind of, I don't know, there's like a mixture of things. So like she did a series of tools, but all those tools were done in a very like gentle kind of flowing, slightly more flowing way, well designed and different. There's ones where there's like a double barrel gun with like a dick and a match sticking out of each barrel, and it's just meant to be very inflammatory and visceral. And I feel that about this one. So She Bites is, I look in it and I feel my own kind of feminine rage, and that power imbalance and that feeling of frustration. Somebody's told you to smile. Well, you want my smile? Here's that smile, and it's grotesque, and the teeth are dirty, and there's fangs, and she bites. I immediately felt this one in my gut, and I love that about it. There's a cigar with I'm kind of blocking it, but right next to my head is a wedding ring, and I thought that added a whole different layer that I enjoyed. I don't know what medium this is in, but that kind of roughness, that quick motion, the gesture, was just very, I don't know, I felt this one in my, like, as a woman, and I felt like, wanting to bare my teeth and be mad, and I really feel that this was done in 1962, and it's just as relevant today, sadly. So there's Titania Ivchenkova, is a Russian artist who was originally a medical doctor and then decided to go to art school and is now living in Paris. Viel Butte is a pastel on paper piece that I just immediately, viscerally, like making eye contact with this portrait, I felt that those red eyes and that kind of almost defeated tilt to her head. I just really, really spoke to me. And one thing as I was analyzing it, thinking about like this one-sided shoulder, this long neck, this tilt to the head, these things coming out from the top, and you have a very C-shaped composition that does a really good job of pulling me up and down and feeling unified. That being said, it's also very loose, layered, complex, and yet still simple in ways. It's not overdone. I just really, I love this piece. Angela Sue might be my new favorite artist. She takes organic scientific drawings, I should say, and presents them in a way that is altered and artistic and not based in science, even though they feel like a scientific drawing, are not based necessarily in science. It's almost like if you were to take the pieces of like true scientific drawings and kind of collage them in ways that just felt beautiful. And so this one is Juno. And I felt that like layering on the text and then having like, a kind of a truncated version of the body and this head that has no relationship to an actual head. It was like a story of her life, but in pieces, and just there's these kind of phalanges coming out that splay. I gasped the first time I was looking through Angela Sue's work. It's immediately my favorite, and I highly recommend you take a look at the rest of her work. It's just a very interesting interpretation of something so structured and altered. It's so clean and beautiful, and it feels ordered, and it's really just, visceral. I enjoy it a lot. And finally, my last one for today is Susan Collis. This is Remainder. So Susan Collis is a London-based artist. She does a lot of stuff where she's focusing on value in the mundane. I was the most interested by the idea of like everyday furniture where you've got like what looks like paint splatter on it. But if you look closer at that paint splatter, it was like inlaid mother of pearl, or there would be stains on an item of clothing on display, and that would be like stains would actually be like meticulously embroidered on. So like where the damage to something everyday is highlighted as exceptional and beautiful. And so this piece is graphite on paper. It was a 5B pencil, and she rubbed it on a derelict building. The scale of it is quite large. I saw a photo of her in front of this. She only goes up about, I don't know, a little bit past halfway. So it's a big piece. And I really just couldn't help but think, like, if you remember from the beginning, my love for Rothko came from seeing it in person. The scale matters. And I would just really love to see this one in person, because right now it's just this tiny gray box, but taking a pencil and rubbing it on a building, there's got to be some visual textures, and there's got to be so much going on here, and you can see that it's there, but it's just, so far away from us through a photo. And so this one, I just really wish I could see in person. Anyway, that's my 5th one. Thank you so much. Have a good one.